I feel a lot better discussing any problems Notre Dame has and where we're at and where we need to be and why we're not there yet. Feels a lot better to talk about them after a win. And all you folks going to work or driving or you're already at work or whatever, you got to feel a little better after a win. I'm not saying it's perfect. It's not. Okay. And we got a bunch of good chats already. There are phone calls. We're going to get to them sooner than we usually do. Let's get the introductions out of the way. So obviously you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. It helps out a lot. Notifications on. You'll be alerted every time I put something out. Thumbs up helps in the search algorithm. You wouldn't believe it, but it does. So thank you for that. So if you're here in the chat, go ahead, take a second thumbs up. Chris Totten, thanks for being here. Matt Miller, regular. Benny, a regular. Our resident Ohio State fan, Kent Jackson, he's over here changing his avatar. Makes it look like there's two of him trying to freak me out. Bass ND Domer, an ugly win, but it's still a win. Hey, listen, folks. I said it all last week. I can't change it now. You couldn't be picky. You couldn't be picky this week, Notre Dame folks. You couldn't. We aren't good enough to be picky about what wins look like. We're not. Okay? So I still say, you had to get this win. I don't care what it looks like. And we were able to do it. I will say this. You're damn lucky you played Cal at home this week. That's all I'm going to say. You were damn lucky you played Cal at home this week, and they're not that damn great at football. The way that game started, if it's in a rougher environment against a better team on the road or something, ooh. Always Irish radio might be starting a little different. I'm just telling you. Listen, folks, if you're a Notre Dame fan, stress. Stress is the word of the week, even in wins. Look at how many times. Nothing's easy, folks. Nothing's easy. We thought we won that game. We thought we got off the no turnover schneid. We thought all that. The game was over. We got Freeman's first win. Everybody relaxes. Next thing you know, that turnover doesn't count. Next thing you know, that turnover doesn't count. Next thing you know, we're playing volleyball in the end zone with the game on the line against Cal. Who can live through this, folks? Who can exist through all this? It's just a tough dynamic. Nothing's easy. Nothing's ever easy for Notre Dame. Even though I know Kent's going to tell us we paid off the refs. Here's the deal, folks. Here's the deal. Here we go. And we're going to get into this, by the way. Before we go any further, we're going to get into this right away. W. Smith, do your effing job. And that whole Tommy Rees thing. And do we like seeing the emotion of that? Or are we mad that he was being mean to poor innocent Drew Pine, who's trying his best out there while he's physically limited, but he's doing all he can to win at Notre Dame, right? Like, where do you fall on Tommy Rees doing that? I got an answer for you, and it isn't going to be in this radio show. That video is coming out tonight, so everybody stay tuned. We're going to do all this, but I have something planned for Tommy Rees later. So this evening's episode is going to feature Mr. Tommy Rees and his little potty mouth. His little potty mouth. He's going to be grounded. And it's like some people are saying, hey, where's somebody telling Tommy Rees to do his job so the offense looks competent? Like maybe somebody needs to yell that at him or he yells at himself. I don't know. All right, phone lines, we're getting there. They're loading up. Hold on a second. I got to go back to this. Matt Radke, $50 donation. I got to tell you, I really appreciate it. Now, I met up with Matt at the players' tailgate before the game. Him and his family were there. Had a good conversation, a cold Miller Lite. That's what it's all about. Matt, wonderful meeting you and your family. Appreciate it very much. Donations more than generous. That keeps the phone lines going, folks. This stuff's not free. Keeps it going. I appreciate you, Matt. Very nice meeting you. Hope to do so again. V1 rotate V2. $9.99, 786. That's the deal, folks. That's the deal. That's how this game works. If you donate anything, I don't care how much it is. If you donate whatever the lowest thing you can is, I don't even know, 99 cents, 1.99, I don't care. You donate it on the super chat. Guess what? That's life. You jump the line, you get your call answered. That's big business, folks. So, that being said, we have a super chat, 786. What is this? Florida? Is that Florida? We're going there now. Let's find out. 786, I don't want to miss. What's up?
Hey, John, how's it going?
Going very well. Thanks for the donation, my friend. That's a good start to a Monday. Thank you very much. What's on your mind?
I feel like as we watch that game, I guess I kind of want to use an analogy a little bit because we all know how Ohio State more trademarked the word "the," right? They should have trademarked the phrase "a win is a win," because that's their excuse anytime they underperform against any time of team. So I feel like Notre Dame, it didn't look good. Drew Pine definitely isn't the answer. He should not be playing college football at this level, but a win's a win at the end of the day. So
isn't it?
We got to start somewhere.
Man, you're right where I'm at in my mind. And I often say on my show, nothing's easy in Notre Dame land. Nothing's clear cut. There's always room for nuance and debate. And nobody ever agrees on exactly everything. That's exactly how I felt, man. I'm so happy we got this first win out of the way for Marcus. I'm so happy Drew Pine found a way to do enough because he loves Notre Dame. He's willing to give everything, get hit, get back up, all of that. I love and appreciate all of that. And also, this isn't where we're supposed to be. And that underlining frustration overrides those good feelings. And I struggle with it back and forth. Where we're at in the moment versus where I think we should be and we want to be. It's this dichotomy. It's two tracks. And I have trouble separating them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, obviously we're not playing to Notre Dame's abilities to play. We have good players on this team if they are coached correctly. And I do believe, as stated in previous podcast from you, that 100% Brian Kelly saw the talent and saw what was coming his way this year with losing everybody that was of any relevancy, of any good football, reality of good football here. So he just jumped ship. And, we have to give time for Marcus Freeman to rebuild this brand. And I think he will. I don't think the answer is let's just throw everyone away. Let's just get rid of, let's take what we have. This year is just going to have to be a bust. I still think we can win some games, but everyone just needs to mature with Marcus Freeman. The same people who are saying that Marcus Freeman, you can't blame Marcus Freeman, he just walked into this mess, are the same people that will 100% turn around and blame him if he loses a game to Marshall. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's very tough.
Time.
Yeah,
we just need to take time.
And I think
Ohio State has been in a similar situation as this. Back in their year when Fickell took over as coach during that whole tattoo gate, they lost every game that year. So it's not like this is a unique thing to Notre Dame, that Notre Dame's just uniquely a team that just can't win, and every team goes through this. So we've hit this. We just gotta keep looking forward, and we just gotta, these players just gotta want to play, and we just gotta win any way we can, whether it's bad, whether it's good. We just gotta keep pushing forward, man.
Yeah, I think that's you're very level-headed, though. You know how this fan base is. A lot of the fan base isn't thinking of things that level-headed. And I'll be honest, there are certain times where I don't, and the material I put out in this show doesn't, because I get all worked up. I just think now, after 3 games, the realization of what we actually are versus what we were hoping it might be, picking up where we left off, no drop off, next level stuff right away. I just think the shock of realizing that's not what this is going to look like took a few weeks. And then maybe once now everybody's here, we can recalibrate and do like you said, and just start building for the future, getting younger guys more experience. That's the mission now. That's the mission now. You got to win as many games as you can, but you also need to get things, as much of this roster that's going to help you when you are ready to be really good, as ready as possible.
Right. I mean, we literally go from playing Ohio State pretty good. I thought we looked pretty good. Either we played how we're playing or Ohio State played bad. I mean, but we go from there. Now we're talking maybe playoffs if we went out to, now we're talking about, are we beating Marshall? Are we beating California? Everyone you have to do exactly what you said. We got to take, maybe we were all expecting too much after the Ohio State game, and now we got to take that. We got to dumb it down. I will say, even though this is probably one of the worst offenses that Notre Dame's probably ever had, it still took California and Marshall all they had to beat us. Well, at least Marshall to beat us. So, we're not a total loss.
And then Marshall loses to Bowling Green, and it makes me even madder. Like, after all that happened, they lose to Bowling Green in an ugly game, giving up a bunch of points. It's like, man, this stuff's too much sometimes, that transitory property of college football.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, Notre Dame has always been that team who, one of the reasons why they're always called overrated, right? We're one of the teams that we just never can just seem to get everything to fall our way in one season. So we start off the year solid, and then we absolutely crap the bucket the very next week. And now we're trying to pick up where we originally started, and now we're just going to have to keep picking up these pieces. But we'll get there. Everyone who wants to leave and jump ship and go root for Ohio State, we'll see you. Bye.
But I understand frustration with Rees. He has a bigger body of work that you can compare things to. I really can't understand people that are seriously being like, it's obvious Freeman's over his head. He's never going to learn it. You got to cut bait right now. That is totally unrealistic. That is never going to happen unless Marcus violates some conduct thing. It isn't going to be just a month into your first year. It's rough. You're out of here. That's not realistic. And I don't know if people just say that because they're really mad in the moment and they don't really think it or mean it. But I've gotten a lot of those messages. Oh, he's over his head, never going to figure it out. Got to get rid of him now. It's never going to happen. That you can't do that. It makes your university look like you don't know what you're doing and you're playing games. Totally unrealistic. Coordinators, assistants, that's different. Marcus isn't going anywhere for a handful of years. Don't you agree with that? I think that's wild to suggest.
Right. I mean, I'll admit, after the Marshall game, after we're all sitting around processing what the heck just happened, we got to start pointing fingers at somebody, right? And as the leader of the team, he's definitely going to be the one taking the shot. And I agree that he's probably not going to be going anywhere. And you've stated in previous podcasts that it would be a very bad look for Notre Dame to hire him. I was always like, well, it would be a pretty bad look for Notre Dame to also go 0-12, kind of which one's worse. But here's the question, though. Here's what this all comes down to, the dynamic you're talking about. It all comes down to your belief in Marcus Freeman developing. No one should have expected him to come in as a finished head coaching product because he's never done it. So this all comes down to if you only win a handful of games this year and we're all mad about it, the question is, are you trending out of it? With recruiting and development. And the other thing we need to look at is we're where we're at and it's not where we want to be, but we need to measure to see incremental improvement from now till the end of the year. That's another red flag if the issues we're seeing never get better from here on out. So there's markers here to measure. But I just think everybody believes in Freeman's potential. He's a smart guy and figure he's gonna figure this out. I think he's going through a tough calibration right now. And it's tougher than we all wanted, and it's just hard to sit through. That's what I really think's happening. He's paying his dues, and it's harder than everybody wanted it to be. It is. He's paying his dues. Right. I mean, I would put less of the blame on Marcus Freeman because he's kind of handed over the offense to Tommy Rees. But I really don't. Watching that game yesterday, I don't know about you, but I didn't think we actually played that bad. I mean, obviously it's like pulling teeth to try to get 5-10 yards, but I feel like if we really just nail in that quarterback, we find somebody who wants to come play for Notre Dame, someone that's good, someone that we can start as a freshman year so he can build up those 4 or 5 years that'll be here. Maybe we take a hit this year, next year. Football is going to last more than 2 years. We're going to, football is always going to be around. So
I'm telling
you,
you're right on it, but you're right on it, because I think the moment Marcus Freeman can hitch his wagon to an elite prospect quarterback, I think you're going to find things aren't as hard as they look at Notre Dame anymore. Find some stability there. Find a guy where you can go into fall camp feeling like you know what you got and you know it's good, and you can do that, and you'll be amazed how much easier life gets trying to run a football program. That is the number one piece, and I don't care the name. CJ Carr, Buckner gets healthy. I don't care. I don't care the name. You need somebody to control that quarterback room that you know is really, really good and you could count on. And we haven't had that.
Right. I feel like maybe the last few years we've all just got a little bit maybe complacent. We're so used to winning most of our games. We're so used to,
and you know what else, by the way,
games. We're so used to maybe going to playoffs if everyone else loses. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We don't have that conference game. We don't get those style points, but we're so used to all this stuff. And then when this happens, people just, they lose sight of the big picture.
Yep. And it is shocking though, man.
They lost 2 games last year with the number 1 offensive line in the country.
Yeah. It is shocking though. When you have those 2 losses in September, and it like even kills your motivation to watch other big games. Cause even if they win or lose in a way that helps Notre Dame, usually it doesn't this year, really. So it's like, it has affected how I view. It's just not all as exciting. And so I'm happy for Marcus. He got the first win. I'm thrilled for Pine. He's a tough kid. It's going to be rough this year, man. It's going to be stressful every week. We all just need to know that. It is.
Yep. And I don't really think our schedule gets very much easier.
Nope.
UNC, BYU, Clemson. I mean, games that maybe last year, except for Clemson, which I still think Clemson wildly overrated. But other than games like Clemson, we're talking, 1-9, 9-1. You know what I'm saying? But this year, if we go 6-6, I'll be happy. They'll have the whole off season. We'll have all this recruits coming in. I'm telling you guys, next year and the year after, watch out. Notre Dame football is back.
There you go. Hey, that's a very balanced perspective on a Monday morning. I really appreciate the call, and thanks for the donation, my friend. Have a good week.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Call again. Beautiful. Love it. Thanks for the donation. Means a lot. We're going to go back to the calls. I got another donation. Matt, you're going to be up next. You donated 615. I believe you're going to be up. Let me get a couple of these messages I starred from earlier. We don't normally get the calls, so we'll take it. Listen, there were some weird calls in that ball game both ways. The offsides thing on the field goal, I've seen the replay and the still frames. I don't understand that. They had a couple big receptions that should have probably been incomplete or looked at that weren't. Whatever, man. Notre Dame's in a spot where they desperately needed a win. I'll take a break if we could get one. Yeah, it was weird. I still don't have a good answer, Kent, on what that was. I guarantee I didn't pay off the refs. Telling you, I didn't. What else do we have here? If Tommy is, for some reason, fires at. We're giving up 21 a game while averaging 18. We're lucky we're not 0-3. But we'll need to score 40 plus at UNC. Listen, folks, I don't really think I'm ready to talk about that yet. I was hoping we could at least have a day or two to enjoy that we didn't lose before I bring up the fact that David's bringing up, which is accurate, that you're going to have to start scoring some more points. You only got away with what you got away with because you're at home against Cal. The next 2 weeks, you don't have that luxury. You're playing significantly better programs in North Carolina and BYU. You're going to have to score. So I'm enjoying the respite for one day here, but you're going to have to score and you're going to have to do more of it. What do we got here? Don't jump on the Tommy Rees train because I told you he was the truth. Y'all dissed him and wanted him fired. Kent's just saying that because he's a plant. Kent wants Tommy Rees to stay around so Ohio State could beat Notre Dame again. Kent, I know your move. Don't act like a double agent up in the chat, Kent. I know your move. You're trying to keep Tommy there so you know how to defend us. Bass and Domer, ND's offense really needs to improve, and so does the play of the linebackers. The O-line did improve. Hopefully they continue. It's going to be a long season. Absolutely. Totally accurate. The offensive line was able to eventually find a little bit of push. No, it's not good enough. No, it's not elite. No, it's not offensive line caliber play. They did enough. They found a little rhythm running the ball, bully ball a little bit. Again, it's against Cal. You got to measure all this carefully. They were able to do that. The play of the linebackers, disappointing so far. Disappointing. A lot of experts with a lot of more X's and O's knowledge than myself really felt that linebacker group is going to be flying around and was going to be a big, awesome part of this defense, covering up some possible issues on the back end. They're just not, it's not flowing right. Like they're not getting off blocks the way they need to. Everything's like, it's almost like they're thinking a little bit too much rather than reacting and doing, which is what I like my linebackers to do. I don't know, but I think everybody did expect a little bit more out of that group. 615, you're coming alive. You donated. You're on the air. Good morning.
What's up, John?
What's going on, man? So did you make it back to Nashville safely after the game?
We did. Yeah, it was a long drive yesterday, but yeah, we're back in the saddle.
Fantastic. So what do you make of all this? What do you make? It's like good we won, but concerning, like where do you fall on all this?
Calamity Dame almost strikes again at the end. Oh my goodness. Why is it so hard?
I know.
Why can't we just win the game? It has to be so difficult.
I know. It's nothing's as easy as it should be right now for the program. There's just a lot of challenges here nobody prepared for. And it's just a lot all at once coming at Marcus. He's getting a crash course in averting disaster week to week now. So he's getting a very quick education in head coaching and stress. So what do you think of Pine?
He is.
What do you think of Pine? Happy for the kid that he won, but ultimately you want better in that quarterback room when we're ready to win elitely, or do you think he has that in him? Where are you on Pine? I'm happy to see the kid win. Tough kid. Fought all day.
I stood. Yeah, I want some more body work, but I mean, obviously the first quarter was pretty awful, but once he got settled in, he was pretty good in the second half. But let's see some consistency out of it and see a bigger body of work. But yeah, he ran the offense pretty well in the second half and got him going. And hey, we got the ball to Chris Tyree. What kind of a concept is that?
It's wild, isn't it? He got, what was it? He got 17 carries, I believe 5 receptions, one of them for a touchdown. That is much, much better use of your best playmakers. However, I'm not myself and I'm not being true to my show if I don't ask, what the hell took 3 weeks? Why am I an idiot in my basement? And I knew that should have been the plan from the beginning, but the guy running it all took him almost a month to figure it out. That's my question. Why? Why is it 3 weeks? We realize it's a good idea to get the ball to your best playmaker on offense, other than Mayer. But why? Why does it take that long?
John, we've got to get you a press pass so you can get up there and ask Rees that question, because I wondered the same thing. Somebody's got to ask him that question. Why is it taking 3 weeks to get Tyree the ball?
Let me tell you this. I'm working on that. That's all I'm going to tell you about that. Is I'm just going to tell you I'm working on that. So you might get your wish, but I'm working on that. So that's a real thing in the works. Just know that.
But But you'll be the one we'll see, like the two security guards coming and picking you up on each side and carrying you out.
Yeah, there you go. You know what it is? If this actually ever does happen, the happiest guy in the world is going to be Brian Kelly, that we didn't overlap in that room. So if that actually ever does, if that happens, he's going to be the happiest guy in America, that we're not overlapping. Okay. Oh, Burt Reynolds is back. Thanks for being back, baby. Burt, right from the grave into Always Irish's chat. That's beautiful. Welcome in, Burt.
And John, I got to say too that my son was saying, he's like, "Oh, that was awesome getting to talk with John. He's the exact same, in person as on his show. He's got so much energy in that." I was like, "Yep, that's him. That was fantastic."
You know what, man?
Man?
That I really appreciate that. That's a really big deal to me, that when I do run into people outside of here, that they can tell I'm genuine and what you're getting is me and it isn't an act and it's just how I am. So thank you for saying that. It's a big deal to me that people realize it ain't just some big act when I hit record. I really am this crazy. So thanks for noticing.
Yeah, that's definitely, I noticed it too. And then, my son's 15 and he noticed that too. And he thought it was just so cool that he got to chat up with you at the tailgate.
Yep. It was a great time, man. So I hope we could do it again. So I don't know, man, what advice would you give Marcus this year? It's going to be a challenge week to week. So as a longtime Notre Dame guy, what would be your best advice for Marcus to be able to navigate all this and keep it together?
Probably my best advice to him is get a good therapist.
There you go. You need one for sure. He's going to age. Yes. He's going to age faster than these presidents who do 2 terms. They showed the before and the after, and it looks like they aged 20 years and 8. Like, he's going to look like that. There's a picture of Obama where it just looks rough. He looks like he aged 30 years and 8. Like, Marcus Freeman's going to emerge looking like he's going to emerge looking like Morgan Freeman in about 2 years. Like, forget Marcus Freeman. My man's going to show up looking like Morgan Freeman, dude. Oh, that's funny.
And think about it was hot in that for the game, sitting there watching the game.
Oh, yeah.
Marcus Freeman, with everything going on, he had to feel like he was in an inferno.
Oh, I'm telling you.
So much stress there at the end. Oh, my God.
But it was, you know what?
But hey.
Go ahead.
But, he is getting, he's fully submerged into what the head coaching job at Notre Dame's looking like right now. It can't get too much worse.
Yeah, exactly. So look at it this way, Matt. If he can navigate this, he should be able to navigate anything because he's got a lot working against him right now. So if he can work his way out of this one, he's going to be pretty good then because he's got a lot going against him.
Yeah, absolutely. What we were talking about at the tailgate, I'm 100% Freeman factor. He's gonna get it going. He's molding he's got his ball of clay. He's got to mold it and get the right stuff going.
And you know what?
So what do you think about North Carolina?
Here's what I think. You're going to have to score more points. You're going to have to.
Terrified.
Yeah, you're going to have to score more. I was kind of hoping we could get a day or two to enjoy our life for a minute and not be miserable before I drop the bomb Wednesday where I say, that was good. We didn't lose, but this week you're going to have to score a lot more points. You're just going to have to. And I don't know where the hell they're coming from. But you have to score more points this week. You just do. And it's on the road. You just got to score. And I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't need it. And you see the line. North Carolina is only a 1-point favorite.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, man. So
I'm glad they're confident in us. But, yeah, it's going to – this coming week's going to tell us a lot about the rest of the season. It
is for sure. And you know what else too? This week, this last game was a big deal to me. Even if I knew we were going to look rough, because that's just how this year is going to be. I already made that conclusion before the game kicked off. But I love the fact that they fought. That's one issue you don't have to worry about. For people going, oh, are they already bailing on Freeman and not like buying in? No. They played hard. They're just not good. They put in the effort. They're just not good right now. But at least I know they have that fight, did what they had to do. It's just tough. It's just a tough look.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. And I can't believe that Hail Mary, how that thing was laying in the guy's hand.
I'm telling you.
Could you imagine if he caught that?
I'm telling you. You know what I do? I go for 2 and I say, the hell with this tie. I'm trying to win it at your place. Everybody would be upset. It would be silent. I run up my best trick 2-point play and I get that win in South Bend and skip town. That's what I would have done if I would have got that. You're on the road. I'm dead serious. I'm on the road. I would have drawn up my best play and it said, Plummer, win us the game. I might have.
That's what I told my son. I said, if they get this, they're going to go for 2. I think to go ahead and win this in regulation. And I mean, it's JD Bertrand. I don't understand what he's thinking on that.
Me neither.
Why can't we just make it easy and just finish a game?
I know that was textbook. That was textbook targeting too. There's no way around it. That one was. It was a launch direct hit. Like it was brutal. It was a big hit.
That and the one on them. I mean, those are the reason that rule's in play, because those were dangerous and.
Yep.
That
it was tough.
Textbook targeting, like you said.
So I don't know, man. We're just gonna have to see how it goes this week. All Notre Dame can do is try and get better week by week. That's the only goal. You got to realize.
That's right.
You got to realize where you're at versus where you want to be, and take incremental steps to get there. It is just time to accept this isn't the seamless transition we all wanted it to be, hoped it would be. There's more work to be done, and frustratingly support that effort. I guess that's the best thing Notre Dame fans could do right now, even though we hate it.
That's right. And one last thing, John, I'll let you go so you get some more calls. But, we got to witness Marcus Freeman's first win as a head coach in person. So it was all meant to be. Yeah, that's why we lost to Marshall, so we could witness this in person.
Yeah, right. Like I went through that too on my post-game show yesterday, where I said, I'm really glad I was on the hallowed grounds of Notre Dame for his first win. I also wasn't expecting it and didn't want it to be this week. Both are true at the same time. I'm kind of glad I was there. I'm kind of glad I was there, but I shouldn't have had to be.
Well, it was good, and I tagged you in Twitter on our picture that we took. So
did you? Beautiful. I'm a little backed up. I'll go through and look. But Matt, great meeting you and the family. It was a joy, and we'll do it again, man. Thanks for the donation. Thanks for the call. Have a good week in Nashville. Behave yourself down there.
Yes, sir. You too, John. Take care, brother.
Take care, man. Oh, that was fun meeting him and the family. Oh, geez. Okay, coming up next, we got Pat, we got Dr. John, and then my new best friend, Rodney. Him and I could destroy so many towns together with our personalities. So those are the 3 coming up. Going to get to a couple chats. Back to it. Okay. 260-612-818. You're the first 3 coming up. Angela Rudiger, a very close, lifelong family friend, and a name some of you may recognize that might be of interest to you if you follow this channel. Angela agrees, coming from a family of coaches, athletes, players, all respond to different coaching methods. Some players respond to a good chew out, and a coach should know who those players are. That's a big part of coaching, folks. Rudy, very good point. That's my nickname for her. Don't think I messed that up. I've called her Rudy my whole life. 20-something years I've known her. Good call. And she's right. You do have to know. You have to know who you can push those buttons on and who you can't. That's a part of being a great head coach. There are certain players you can push, get in their ass, yell at them like Rees did. There are other people where that would cause them to put more pressure on themselves and they're not going to perform as well. You have to know. You got to know those personalities, and you also have to understand your relationship, okay? Your relationship. Yeah, it's a fake call show. Only talk to people you know. Did it ever occur to you that when the number comes up on the call screen, it tells me the person's name? It's not like I know all these phone numbers by my mind. It tells me the guy's name who's calling. Relax. Talk to me. 402. There isn't even a 402 waiting. What are you talking about? There is no 402. There ain't. Talk to me. 402. You got to call. 260. You're my hero. Been on the line a while. Welcome to the show. Good morning on a Monday.
Good morning, John. How we doing?
I'm doing very well. What do you make of what we saw this week?
It's pretty much what I thought it was going to be when we spoke.
Stressful, stressful, anxiety-provoking, frustrating.
I wasn't. Well, surprisingly, I wasn't really stressed because I anticipated this train wreck. You know what I mean? It was one of those type of things where I wasn't expecting much. Now, the first quarter was absolutely ridiculous. I mean that's literally nothing from your offense. So I guess the stressful part of it was just trying to end that game. That's where the stress came in. How many times can you give life to an opponent is beyond me. As it's already stated, a win is a win is a win is a win. So you're going to take it. But man, this is going to be a long season.
Yeah, it is. And I think maybe week 3, we won. So I'm in a better mood by nature. But I think I'm starting to, the shock and frustration that we're not what we hoped we would be running into this year, seamless transition, taking it to the next level right away. Like for a lot of different reasons, we're realizing that's just not our reality. And that's finally starting to settle in with me. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't want it to be true. But we're a few weeks in and I'm realizing it is. And the shock of that starting to wear off. And then that's going to put me in a place where I can practically just start looking at incremental improvement week to week, building for the future. It's frustrating, but I feel like that's kind of where we're at in reality. Is that how you see it?
Yeah. I'm just looking across the board. I always start with the line. It was good to see there's actually push. Zeke Terrell didn't play bad, which was nice to see. Fisher's still way too high with the pad. Luckily, he's wrong, so he makes up for that. They did take a step forward, which is good. Again, this is the second time that units play together, and I try to reiterate to people, to everyone, look, O-line takes time to gel. Yes, I understand it's a 12-game season, but that's why you hope to have a lot of returning starts underneath people's belts. So they took a step forward. Wide receivers non-existent. This is where the lack of hitting and recruiting is showing up. It's unbelievable how terrible this wide receiving core is. You can take Braden Lindsey and there's no reason for him to even go on a route because if it's contested, he's not coming down with the ball. So just stick with him in the flats or in sweeps because it's a joke. Colsey, where's he at? He's never playing. So I'm guessing that he's probably, I hope that it's not the case, but he's probably going to be a bust. That wide receiver core is just a joke.
Now here's the problem with that. Here's the issue. I take heat whenever I say, why does the offense look so rough this year? And then I bring up that wide receiver situation. And the next thing a lot of people say is, John, now you're being a loser and you're simping for your boy Freeman and you're trying to blame the last guy for the problems now. And that's cheap because you like Marcus more than you like Kelly. So you're carrying his water, making excuses for him. That's how that goes. Where I say you got to be mature, but you have to be mature enough to know the line, to blame Kelly for some of that, for why the cupboard's bare, and also to admit it should still look better than what it is now. Both of those can be true.
Agree.
Both of those could be true, but people have a hard time separating them out. And that's where I get in trouble.
Well, because the problem is most of those people probably watch ESPN. And they get their thoughts from ESPN. I'll just leave it at that. And most people don't operate on multi-facet analysis. It's always single factor. Like, it is this, and this is the only reason that this happens. Okay, so simplistic in thought, but no, there's just no development there in the wide receiver bunch. I mean, they don't even run their routes. I mean, if you watch some of these passing plays, there's no going back to the receiver, to the quarterback. Like make a play when he's scrambling, move towards where he's scrambling, go to that open field. Oh, it's zone, fit in the zone. They don't even run the routes, man.
Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard. Do you feel like there was a little momentum gained in the running game? Like eventually late second half, they did get a little bit more downhill, started to wear Cal down up front a little bit. Does that give you a little more confidence in the offensive line? The numbers are nowhere where I want them to be production-wise against Cal, but did it give you a little encouragement that we could at least find things to build on going to North Carolina? Or do you still feel like it's starting from scratch? I feel like there might be little building blocks here, but they're little, but it's all we got.
Mm-hmm. No, that is absolutely. I think the offensive line definitely took a step forward. Again, even if it's a baby step, it took a step forward. I don't understand why we didn't switch to the run earlier. I'm like, if you're going to have a 50 passing attempt through Pine game, this is going to be a train wreck. But they switched to it. There was movement. The line of scrimmage moved forward. That's what you want to see. There was holes. I mean, there was some massive holes that our running backs had, especially later in the third quarter. And look, I mean, if you look at their possessions after that first quarter train wreck, they moved the ball. I mean, I won't say it was like touchdown, field goal type of thing. I mean, maybe then they punted it when they're just trying to milk the clock. I wish they got a little bit better push, but that's when Cal finally went back to 8 guys in the box and just dared them to throw the ball because they knew what Notre Dame was doing. So I think that, there's some things to build on, but you don't have a quarterback, you don't have wide receiver, and it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, and
teams are going to understand this.
Man, here's the double frustration I have right now, and this is one of the things that hurts me the most about our dynamic. If we were genuinely just like not very good because of talent deficiencies, but you could run Buckner out there 12 games all year to at least develop him. He needs reps.
Yep.
And he's not getting them. And that is the biggest thing that hurts, because you're going to do all this struggle and have certain parts of the team developing. He's not a part of it. That's a double whammy. It nails you for this year because he gave you the best chance to win games at quarterback. But longer term, that's where it hurts me. This year's kind of screwed. It bothers me that we're not developing him for later because of this too. And it's nobody's fault, but it's always a frustration. And I feel bad for him, and it's just frustrating for everybody.
It is, but I mean, unfortunately, injuries are part of the game, and what's going to be interesting is I'm curious to see if they're going to start getting some playing time later on in the year with Angeli. And let's say if he actually looks halfway competent with a stronger arm than Pine, then here we go into 2023 with another unknown quarterback situation room,
Yep. Notre Dame, listen, man, we don't know what it's like. We make life harder than it has to be. It is not crazy to go into a camp with an established quarterback can win all the games and make all the throws, and you build around them. That is how a normal, successful top 10 program builds. And we just are the outlier. You would be amazed if you find that guy with elite potential, how much it would do to stabilize your operation and make things look easier. It is one of the biggest things that Marcus needs to figure out. I don't care the name. Find one of those guys to hit yourself to, and let's cook.
This day and age in football, college, NFL, you got to have a quarterback, you got to have wide receivers, and Notre Dame has neither. So this is a 7-5 season, essentially.
Yep.
That's how I look at it.
Yep, it's very rough. The areas we're deficient are the areas you just can't afford in modern college football too. Like you can't afford it anywhere, but especially where we're a little behind, it really shows because of what's winning in the game today. You're right.
Right. And if you look at the other side of the ball, I'm glad that the defensive line finally showed up. But and their secondary is getting, I mean, it's better than it was last year, which is good to see. It's still not there. They're still not breaking the ball hard. There's no, I mean, we have 3 pass broken up this year, but their linebackers, man, whew, they are atrocious.
It's rough.
I mean, it's not good. It's really bad. I mean, I heard nothing but good things about Leofau. The dude is a human magnet. I don't think he understands the objective is to not get blocked. I mean, again, you take on blockers, but you get off of the block. You use your hand. The dude, to summarize Leofau for me is go back and watch the game. Is that when Plummer's scrambling, he points to his running back, true freshman, like 5'9", 100-0, and he points to block him.
Yep.
And Leofau runs straight into that dude. But make a move. That running back eyes had to be as big as his helmet when this guy's flying right at him. Go around him. Feather that quarterback to the outside. Get him out of bounds. No, we're going to run straight into that guy. Makes no sense. No hands. The Bertrand, my goodness, he was getting washed all game long. Thank God he finally showed up for that personal foul targeting at the last play. I mean, come on, man. Like, it just does not make sense, and they are just not a good group.
So is that, but why did we all thought they were going to be a plus group. So what do you attribute that to? Miscalculation of what we had, or is it coaching, or the guys not executing? Is it a blend? Because I think everybody felt better about that group than the production we're getting. So where do you parse blame on that area falling short currently?
I think all of it. Yes. My guess, my theory as to why is, I mean, Golden is teaching or trying to teach them to play at an NFL type of level, where it's Rees, trust your eyes, fire, trigger, let's go, get after it. And if you look back from Elko to Lee, even Freeman did this, where a lot of the linebackers were just shooting gaps. You're constantly first down, second down. They were firing for run fits or run blitzes. Whereas we're like basically what Maris is doing now, where it's just hit and cause a pile, add to that pile, because usually they're in a 3-3-5 or some type of 3-down lineman set, so just keep getting bodies. And it seems like Golden is kind of okay. Don't penetrate the line. Reuse your eyes. Once you see it, go. And you're dealing with people who don't trust their eyes. They're just not trusting what they're seeing. And so when it's too late, they're getting washed. You get arm tackles. It just is.
And that's the issue. That's the issue with those linebackers too. Like, I mean, one of the beautiful things about linebacker play is the best ones play with a natural inclination that just comes to them in a feel of where to be or where you need to be or how to be where you need to be. Like that feel you can't teach, of just feeling out what you need to do. They're struggling right now. I thought that group would be a lot better. On the flip side, I actually feel like the secondary's a little better than what I thought they'd be coming into the year, and the linebackers are worse. So maybe there's a give and take there. But that secondary's held up pretty tough. Like, they're not top on my area of Notre Dame complaints, that's for sure.
Agreed. I wish there was a little bit more pass breakups, a little bit more ball hawkishness, getting a pick at the very least. But no, their cornerbacks, I mean, have played very well. I'll be honest with you though. Brandon Joseph, man, I am not high on him at all. I mean, I feel like we were sold a bill of goods. Man, he is a terrible tackler. I mean, just a terrible tackler. And oh, by the way, at the end of the game, buddy, bat it down. I don't give a damn about your personal interception.
Yep, just hit it down. That's the number one thing they teach you, is you swing that thing hard into the ground as much as you can. Everybody.
Exactly. But he's going for the pick. We're going for the pick because it's about me, baby. It ain't about team. It's about me. I got to get that interception. Bat it down. I mean, you could take him and Houston Griffith and just, I don't care, just ship him off at this point, because can't tackle. Neither one can tackle at a safety position. So, but at the same time, I like what you did with Henderson on the blitz. It looked very crisp. It looked clean. You could take that double A gap linebacker blitz and just shove it, because that never hits home. That thing is a joke. So I think in this game, I think they got some people out in the wrong positions. I get Maris out of the will. That's not what he is. So there's some pieces, there's some tools to play with, but man, it's going to be a season. I can tell you that.
It's going to be stressful. So we look for incremental improvement and keep the big picture goals in mind. But really good thoughts, my friend. Enjoy your week. Thanks for the call. Call again.
Always, John. Good talking to you.
You too. Have a good week. Take care.
Thanks.
All right. That one guy. Are you 402? Tell me that again. This guy's on a conspiracy theory. He thinks the whole show is staged. He thinks I staged the callers. He thinks I send them a script and tell them what to tell me. I don't understand. I don't have that much planning capability here to script the show with these phone calls. I really don't. 612. We're talking to you.
Good morning, John. It's Dr. John.
Dr. John, how are you this week? Happy Monday.
Well, I'm sitting on a rock in your neighborhood. I'm outside of Quality Inn in Schaumburg.
Oh, there you go. You're out in the burbs, man.
Yeah, I'm away home. We stayed here last night. I'm not your analysis guy.
Right.
I'm here for one purpose, as you know, therapy. I don't have a sheet of paper that says I'm an expert, but I've had enough in my life that I think I know how to treat you. And I do have a prescription later on. But I've been sitting on this rock outside Quality Inn for an hour now. And, I'm old, and from the time I put on hold till the time I get you, I could be gone. So
you got an expiration date?
I think there is.
You're not that old, John. You're not that old. Come on. And if you were,
82, buddy.
if you were, the last thing on your deathbed you want to do is hear me yelling, John. Okay, on your way out, that's the last thing anybody wants to hear is me yelling about football on their way out. Say goodbye to your family, would you?
Anyway, if I cut my fee in half, can you get to me sooner?
You know what, John, from now on, just be, you know what? This is going to be like McDonald's, where if you're over a certain age, you get to jump the line and get a discount. So yeah, we'll make that deal, John. I ain't going to make you wait anymore.
Okay.
You're the oldest caller, so you get to jump the line. I like that. We'll make that deal. We could do that.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about your tailgate Saturday. I got there too late. You had already broken down. Nobody was around. So we should have talked about timing, but
that's okay.
So
what did you think of all this, man?
Anyway.
What do you make of this? There's so many ways to go, so many angles.
Well, I'll tell you what. I watched your show this morning from yesterday, and I remember, you remember an NFL coach named Dennis Green?
Yeah.
He was coaching the Cardinals at the time. I can't remember who they were playing, but afterwards they got beat. And he said, they were who we knew they were.
Yeah, and you know who they were? You know who they were? They were playing my Bears. I remember that intimately because it was the Bears. It was the Bears they were playing who beat them in Arizona on like 5 goofy turnover plays in the second half. Yeah, it was wild. Yep, they are who we thought they were.
To paraphrase him, we didn't know who we were. We thought we were somebody else, I think. But speaking of your Bears, I took my daughters to the Hideout in Schaumburg, a local dive bar. We left at halftime thinking we brought bad luck to your Bears. So
yeah, it's tough.
Anyway, I got up early. I watched your show, but during the night I woke up. I had a nightmare. I woke up and somebody was saying the game is under review.
The entire game.
Yeah,
Everybody
so
come back. We're not done. Everybody come back. That guy wasn't offsides on that field goal. Everybody come back.
Well, I was worried they were going to review that last play.
Oh, man. But why is it so hard, John? Why is life so hard? Why is it so hard to beat Cal at home that it comes down to that? That's my problem. Why is it so hard to do anything?
And John, like I said, I'm going to give you a prescription, but it's not going to get any easier. I mean, we are what, a 1.5 point favorite at North Carolina, and they're not a good team. They've in 3 games they've total 547 yards. I mean, that's less than 200 a game. Come on.
I just can't.
Anyway,
but John, I just can't trust any level of play going into any week here. That's the issue. I do not feel like I have a level of confidence that I know a baseline level of play I can rely on, especially going on the road now. And it just makes me very nervous. It just does, because I don't know what we can sustain.
I agree. I agree with you. And I know you got people waiting. So here's what your prescription is. I don't know if you have paper and pencil there, but
I do.
I'm going to give you some very, very important numbers.
All right.
Now we're going to say Saturday is the seventh day of the week.
Okay.
On Saturday morning, I know you're probably going to do a show, but at some point you need to 11 times on that 7th day, 11 times you need to just meditate for 42 seconds, 11 times. Now, those are very significant numbers, so you can study that and see why they are. But I'll probably give you a call a week from today to see how you did with that first session of meditation, okay?
All right. We'll see what we can do, John.
11, that's only 8 minutes. It's only 8 minutes. So 11 times on a Saturday morning, you just sit back for 42 seconds and you meditate. And it's going to do wonders for you.
Beautiful. Thanks for the prescription. I appreciate that. And I apologize for the elder abuse, making you wait online. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. I'll do my part.
Hey, man, I'm just disappointed I got to your tailgate too late.
Oh, that's okay, man.
I really was looking forward to meeting you.
Hey, we'll overlap again. Don't worry about it.
Okay, before I turn you loose, I got to tell you, the first thing I did before I looked at your show, I went on Facebook and promoted you.
I really appreciate that. Facebook's one I have not had time to get into as much as I want. So I do Twitter heavy, but Facebook I could use a little presence there. So feel free, lead them over. I appreciate you, John. Thank you.
Okay, bud. Well, let's see if we can't beat these Tar Heels, whatever the heck they are.
There you go. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot, John. Take care. Safe travels. Have fun in the fabulous suburbs of Chicago.
All right. Yeah, we're out of here in about a half hour. So
drive safe.
I will talk to you next week.
Beautiful. Drive safe. Take care.
Unless I feel you need a special call.
Give me a call. Feel it out. If you think I'm wearing thin, call me.
Okay, love your show.
Thanks a lot, John. Take care. Now I feel bad he said he was old. I didn't call him old, making an old guy wait. Catherine Kelly, Notre Dame will never get another national title. Never. Here's the deal, Catherine. What are you, Brian's younger sister? Get out of here. I've had that one highlighted for a while. Oh, Jacob Saylor, super chat here. Appreciate that. Where is it? I start it. There we go. Appreciate the super chat for sure. If we do in the first half what we did in the second half, I feel this combo is different. 38-10. If we didn't wait till the second quarter to get it going, a calm, Pine, and creative Tommy is out the combo. I can't argue with that. That's actually... Jacob, thank you. Thanks for the donation. But this is also a very reasonable level-headed position, which is something I could use more of sometimes from you guys. I think you found little things this offense could build on moving forward. I do think you found that, like more quick passing, more getting the ball to Tyree. Audric Estime had 3 receptions. I love that's what we mean when we were saying we don't have the quarterback and wide receivers to just be able to spread out and whip it all over. We don't have that. That isn't going to be us this year. That's not going to help Notre Dame succeed. So we have to find other ways to do it. Quick passes, quick outs, Estime passes, Tyree passes, all of that. That's how you're going to have to do it right now. And then try and expand on that playbook little by little, week by week, as you hopefully get better at it. Now, what makes me a little nervous is, while I'm saying you could build off this stuff, Cal wasn't that good. So I'm seeing these little building blocks. But what if you play a team way better than Cal? Then they might not be true building blocks. They may have just been, you could only do that because Cal isn't that great. And that's a tricky dynamic too. So we're just going to have to see if we can build off what we did. Thanks for the super chat. Pat, $4.99. Thanks again. Hoping for 9-3. Listen, 9-3 would be outrageous. Like, from where we're at, 9-3 would be unbelievable. Unbelievable. If you turn this into 9-3, it would be an amazing coaching job by Marcus Freeman. I want it to happen. I don't think it's going to. I just think there are larger scale issues that are going to kind of stop us from reaching that. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to be right. Damn, are there really still OSU trolls in here? Holy cow. Hey, Chief, I mean, I'm happy to have them, but I'm confused too. Is there nobody doing Ohio State stuff during the week? I always hear Ohio State as like the most fans and the biggest fan circle. Shouldn't they have a guy doing Ohio State on a Monday morning? Let's go. Here we go. Back to the call-in line. 818, we're doing great. Good morning.
Good morning, John. I just missed my friend.
What's going on, man? Are you listen, man. The last calm I had in my life was leaving you at a tailgate. And then all this stress happened. What do you make of this, man? Are you just glad we won? Are you still wondering why it doesn't look better? Or is it all of it?
John, I had all these thoughts until you brought up Marcus Freeman as Morgan Freeman, and now I can't get the Shawshank Redemption out of my mind. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm casting the movie right now. Marcus Freeman's playing Morgan Freeman, MF, right?
Yep.
Tommy Rees is playing Tim Robbins, TR, and you got Brian Kelly's the warden. And I'm just thinking to myself, you know what? I like that end, man. That you go through a pile of SHIT and you come out smelling like a rose on an island with the sun bearing down on you. Man, it sounds beautiful. It sounds beautiful. You either get busy living or get busy dying, brother.
There you go. Oh, man. So are you at least relieved?
I just could not get that out of my head when you brought that up.
It just came to me. But the way, Freeman.
Coach didn't age during his Notre Dame tenure? Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly was better when he left Notre Dame than when he started.
Well, that's because he checked out halfway through, so it was stress-free. You don't got to get out there and recruit, so you can just relax. Your hairline stays perfect.
John, it takes genuine people to truly age.
Yeah, there you go.
I was thinking about all that. Oh, and by the way, you know who the quarterback was? Trivia question. I think you probably know. That Dennis Green Notre Dame game, or Chicago Bears game, I remember it so well. I remember the moments in that game. Do you remember who the quarterback was of Arizona?
Oh, geez. I should know that. Wait, was it Leinert or somebody? Was it Leinert? Was it one of who was?
It was Matt Leinert.
I thought so. I can't believe I remember that. What was that? 05, 06, I think that was. We watched it in college. I remembered it. I think I do remember it was Leinert.
Because of the 06 Super Bowl we played the Colts. Yeah.
That's right. I can't believe I remembered that. But yeah, that's, geez.
Wow.
So what do you make of this, man? Like, do you feel better, or are you just like glad we didn't lose and you feel the same? Like, where are you at now a few weeks in? Tell me where you're at.
Honest to goodness, that guy that texted a couple things ago, said 38-10. I honestly feel this was a game. I went into this first quarter throwout. Pine looked awful. I mean, awful. And I'm just like, I feel bad for him. I'm like literally feeling bad for him. But I'll say this, man. When Rees reamed him, he started playing better. Like, maybe he's one of those guys that can take that kind of coaching, because it did seem like when Rees got into him, man, he did start playing better. And as the game went on, he got more comfortable. The line started blocking. There started to be running lanes. Estime looked really good. Tyree looks really good, man. And I'm like, and then the defense kind of came alive. But at the same time, there were just these things going on in the game that I feel like Notre Dame had no control over, that just is the negative aspect that is Notre Dame football, where it's like, I honestly felt like they were playing their hearts out, and they just couldn't get a break at the end. I'm like, you can't even have 2 turnovers after those plays. It's like, I mean, Notre Dame doesn't control a guy's knee touching the ball before an underhand throw goes 5 yards in front of them. Well, they did control the targeting, I guess. But I mean, the guy who intercepted it had nothing to do with the other guy targeting the other guy. It's just like, why do these things happen? And on the Hail Mary, I knew that was going to happen. I'm like, this ball is going to be up in the air. It's going to bounce on 7 people's hands. I just hope they don't come down with it at the end, because I thought they did. And I'm like, man, this thing could go into overtime. I could see this game going to overtime right now. And then I had a thought. Or they're going to go for it, and they're going to go for the win, and they might get it. I'm like, I mean, this is a horror I had in my head right before that play. Sure enough, bam, bam, bouncing around, and somehow, some way, it hits the turf, and we win. And I'm just like, this is a 7-5 football team.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, they're good enough to be 7-5. I really believe that. I think they're going to start playing better. They're going to lose one of the next 2 games, John. They're going to lose against BYU. They're going to lose against North Carolina. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah.
Probably lose a close one to Clemson, because I think they'll come to play. And they'll probably get on a little bit of a roll, then I think. And then we're probably going to lose one to USC. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I don't like all that, but I think it's true. We just need to see incremental improvement in the areas that are going to help us in the future. And I'm happy Pine won for himself. I'm happy Freeman got this first win off his back. But that whole final sequence with the turnovers that weren't, and all the excitement of that, like the game's finally over, but no, it's not. And then the Hail Mary, I was shaking my head just thinking, nothing's coming easy this year. And you're just going to have to fight and scratch and claw for every single yard all year. Like, it's just hard, man. We're in a rough spot this year. But at least you won. I feel a lot better today on this Monday. I just do, than the last couple.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess I felt decent coming off the Ohio State game on Monday, but it still wasn't a win. But yeah, I mean, I felt it's hard to feel good though, because every time I was getting excited about anything late in that game, like, yeah, here we go. Oh God, that happened. Oh my God. And so it was just, you could just tell there was just like a general, it was just a sigh of relief, man, because it's like, now wait. And I was like, hold on. Where's the late penalty flag that no one tells us about until 10 seconds later?
Yeah.
I was waiting for that penalty flag at the very end, and it didn't happen. I'm like, okay, okay, I guess we actually won. It was so strange, man. But I'm telling you, the Shawshank Redemption comparison.
Is that our format? It's our format. I like this. I think we can make this work.
I could see that happen.
I think we can make this work. And we have different people play the parts. It's going to be good. I think we have an angle there.
And at the end, baby, you got Marcus Freeman on the beach with Tommy Rees.
Yeah.
And it's a national title. I mean, who knows, man? I will say this. I wanted to say this, John. I actually thought Tommy Rees called a really good game. Even when it wasn't going well, I'm like, I can't blame Rees. That was a good play call. I'm like, that's a good play call. Now, are they coaching him right on those particular plays where they're not executing? But I'm like, I got to say, I almost couldn't criticize any of Tommy Rees plays, man. I was like, he's calling an excellent game.
Yeah,
I truly thought that.
Some of that came down to execution, and that's a part of why when Rees was yelling at Pine, it's like, do your job. We drew this up. You have guys open, and you're overthrowing them. Like, I get it. So it's just going to be a struggle, man. But I feel that there are little things Notre Dame can build off of this week. And the other big thing, man, is momentum is real. And there's no substitute for winning. Winning has a way of just making everything a little better that week. Have a good week of practice, pep in your step. You're feeling a little better about things. I just need to see improvement one week to the next. That's the only bar I can go off of right now.
That's exactly right. And I honestly think like that's what I felt from this game. Like, okay, it was a genuine improvement over the last game. And I'm like, okay, now if you go another, even though you're playing tougher competition next couple of weeks, if you just keep improving, keep showing you're getting better, that's what I'm looking at for this team now. Marcus as a defensive coordinator, same thing, man. That second half of the year, they were playing really good football. But, man, first half I was like, really the answer, a defensive coordinator? And then he proved that, okay, I get it. It's a slightly different style. Maybe it's going to be the same thing this way during the season. Having said that, John, it was wonderful meeting you. You're taller than I thought. Man, what a great time that day. Great meeting Grant. I just can't wait for that moment again, brother.
There you go, man. It was great meeting you as well. And let's keep in touch. You and I, we'll do some business. We have some damage to cause. Let's reconnect.
All kinds of damage. All right, buddy.
Have a good week. Thanks for calling. Man, a lot of these people I did actually meet for the first time in town at the tailgate. It's beautiful. I love it. Kent, look at Kent. Like, I'm over the shock of Kent, but he likes to be here for all the other Notre Dame people that aren't used to an Ohio State guy in here. Honestly, Notre Dame might not win another game this season. You don't think that, Kent. You just want to get my people all worked up on a Monday morning. I know you. Buckner's inaccurate, period. Yeah. Yep. Too inaccurate. You're not going to see it the rest of the year. There you go. I'll give you that about Buckner. Guaranteed. No more incompletions. Mr. Scrunchy Mouse. I see more of a 4-8, maybe 5-7. Listen, it's in the realm of possibility. It is. You just can't. You don't know what you can rely on week to week. And so while we're in this kind of struggle, anything's possible. 5-7 is perfectly possible. Ooh. Rob, this is a good one. If we play LSU at ND, who wins? I think Brian Kelly's crew beats us. Unfortunately, right now, I agree with you. I do. I think right now they would out-physical Notre Dame. I've watched LSU just with the keen interest since Kelly's there, of genuine interest. I've watched them. There's a different level of physicality there right now than what Kelly left Notre Dame with. There is. And I would suspect that they would physically wear Notre Dame down and limit Notre Dame what they could do so much on both sides of the ball. And it hurts me because I don't like Brian. I just think he's a weird guy and just kind of a jerk. I don't love him personally. And this hurts me to say, but I'd put my money on LSU. Like an SEC roster, I just would. You could disagree with that if you want. Whatever. I don't have a lot of confidence in Notre Dame right now. I'm sorry. It's rough. But them not winning another game, you're out of your mind. Matt, thanks for reminding people that. Do hit the like button if you're in here right now. We're over 100 people. I don't know how many likes there are. I can't see that, but make sure you hit it. I appreciate that. Let's see. Is who nuts? Am I nuts? I don't know. Or is that Chief? You're reacting to Chief. Let's see. Buckner on ND in 2020 gives you a better chance than Book, Pine, leave it at that. Well, I don't know. That's tough because then you're still getting Buckner without experience Buckner. Like, that's why I can't say that, because you're not getting him with the experience if it would have been 2020. So I don't know how you could go there. 937. We're in heaven. Happy Monday morning. Victory Monday.
John, what's up?
What's going on? So what do you make of what we saw this weekend in college football?
I am very happy with Notre Dame right now, actually.
Okay. So we got the win, found a way, and you're feeling better about it. Walk me through that. Where are you at in your mind? What's giving you confidence? And do you think we could carry it into North Carolina week?
I think we can, because North Carolina hasn't played a lot of competition. And that team that almost beat Ohio State is still in the building. Marshall was a bit of a letdown, but I still have a lot of faith in the Irish. I'm shocked that not everyone else does, to be honest with you.
Okay. So where are you feeling like we can run into North Carolina and rely on something to get this win? Is it offensively? Is it defensively? Do you think we found a way to be able to maybe run the ball a little bit and keep that going? Like where's your confidence going into this week?
My confidence is on both sides of the ball, actually, because North Carolina has a good quarterback and they have great receivers. But if our DBs can lock down Ohio State, I think we can lock down anybody in the country. That's one. They put up a lot of yards, but they've also played Georgia State, App State, and I forget the other team, but they're going against lesser competition. Our offense, actually, their defense is not very good at all, but we're getting everyone's best shots, because obviously we're struggling. We're not doing the best that we could be doing. And other teams are seeing this like, oh, it's like a wounded duck. Go ahead and take it out. But I feel that once the game starts to go, now that we got this win, I don't know, man, we might go on a tear. I think I see personally, I still hope for 10-2, but maybe 9-3.
So I'm struggling with this. I like your optimism, but we went the first 2 weeks, then we struggled early, settled in, got the win this week. And you feel like you've seen enough from that you're confident maybe we could rip off a bunch of wins here, only have maybe one more loss the rest of the way, maybe two. Like, I see that as a stretch based on where we're at. And I know a lot of people in the fan base view me as the glass half empty guy. I have a very hard time seeing even only one more loss. So I like you being encouraged. I just don't know if I've seen enough Saturday that I feel like I could trust it. That's my issue. I need to see more.
And you said something I listened to your show like every time you put one out. I've been calling a lot too, man. You're getting really, really big these days, man. I've been on hold for like an hour and a half or whatnot. But anyway, I digress. You said that it's hard for you to trust the Irish, which is completely understandable. But we keep going through ups and downs with changing quarterbacks, trying different things on defense. I think what we did this week is we kind of scaled down and try to make everything simpler for everyone on both offense, defense, and we had a better outcome. I also felt like we kind of got homered a bit at the end. I don't agree with the targeting call at all, just because the pass was well beyond the receiver. That's just me, though. I played ball for a lot of years. I played in college. I don't know. I feel that was an uncatchable pass. So I don't understand why that's a targeting call.
Yeah,
Trust me.
Yeah, I think I had that thought too, because that was where that was on the field. I think they're just going to say safety trumps, where that ball, even if the ball is not catchable, we can't let you head hunt for safety. I guess that would be their angle, because I thought of that too. And I don't think targeting matters whether it's catchable or not. I just think you're not allowed to do that.
So, but I also feel that the rest of our opponents haven't really played the kind of competition that we have so far. So everyone's afraid of BYU or whatnot, but BYU just got throttled by Oregon, and Oregon got throttled by Georgia. So it's like, how good are they really? That's my only question.
Yeah, and you have a lot of that transitive property of who beat who and they beat you and this and that. Same thing with Marshall and Bowling Green. It's weird. Any credence to going to their place? Does it matter to you at all that it's going to be on the road? Does that change things for you, or do you like the idea that maybe they're getting out of town and don't have the stress of the home crowd being all nervous of what they're going to get? Like, any difference to you home away this week?
Absolutely not. Because again, you open up in Columbus on a night game of the week, and you still perform like that. I mean, outside of Al Golden calling a freaking 0-0 blitz, two plays ended that game for us. For me, it was that safety blitz, and then the receiver went down and made the tackle on kickoff, and that got everyone back into the game. So a couple months ago, I called and said Irish by 3. And it was looking that way up until the third quarter. So, no, I feel that our safeties are going to play good. I don't know why the guy was hating on Brandon Joseph. I think he's just trying to be instinctual and try to end the game with the interception last week on Saturday versus Cal instead of knocking it down. I mean, you saw what happened with App State and Troy. Guy tried to bat it down instead of picking it, and they went ahead and scored the game. So, as for the question, no, not at all. If you can play in Columbus at night, you can play anywhere at night.
Yep, I guess that's a very fair point. What about Pine? Let's finish up on Pine. What did you like from him the most, and what do you want to see from him this week as far as taking another step?
Leadership is the one thing I feel that we have from Pine. I was high on Buckner, but when I saw him throw the pick at Marshall, and he goes off the field and yells bad words Coach Kelly used to say all the time.
Yeah.
I felt like he looked lost in that moment. Drew Pine struggled the first quarter, and he came back, and he had some moxie in him, and I appreciate that. Like, he had leadership. And so to have a guy, like they always ask, like, who has the juice on the offense, I think it could be Pine. I think they ride behind Pine. They played for Pine. And, yeah, he kind of got chewed up by Tommy Rees a little bit, and everyone saw it, but he came out and responded.
Yeah.
So I feel that – but I also feel like Tommy Rees is not showing everything because we still have big games to come up. There's no point of showing all your tricks this early. It's only game 3. I would like to have a play that Clemson hasn't seen in case we need it. I want to have a play versus USC in case, they haven't seen it, but we ran it the whole time. I mean, you don't want to show all your cards this early in the season.
Yep.
So it takes a while. I mean, I feel like so one last thing before you let me go. You said that you're born a Notre Dame fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I chose to be a Notre Dame fan when Notre Dame played Ohio State, and I think it was 2006, right?
Yeah, the Fiesta with Brady Quinn that year.
Yeah, I lived through a 3-9 and 4-8 season. We don't look like that. I feel that we had a heartbreaker. We tried to sleepwalk through a team that was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Now we finally woke up in week 3. I think we can easily go 10-2. It's not going to be pretty, but this team is figuring out who they are, not what they want to be. And that's, I feel, way more important.
Interesting.
So it's not going to be gorgeous. We're not going to be Georgia. We're not going to be Alabama. We're not going to be in the playoffs. But I feel that we can still go 10-2 and still rock some teams.
Wow. Beautiful. That's encouraging. The people in the chat are questioning you. They're questioning you. You sound optimistic. They don't know. They don't know.
Well, these are the same guys that are probably never played backyard football in their life. I've been in locker rooms where we went undefeated. I've been in locker rooms where we went 3-8. Trust me, it can happen. You can turn anything around if you want to. We went 4-8 back in 16, and went on a tear for 5 years.
Beautiful.
It's
I like
just a
I like your,
rebuild year, and
hey,
that's-
I appreciate your perspective, and I appreciate the way you're looking at this. So really good call. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good Monday. Have a good week. Oh boy. Folks, I don't know what to tell you, man. It's hard doing this phone, the phone thing. You got to realize, all right? You got it, Craig. I see you. Thanks, Craig. I'm starring this. I'll come back to it. First off, the chat is hilarious, saying that this guy, is waking and baking and took his took his drugs. Somebody put do your drugs after the show, not before. Like, come on, this is hilarious. So that's funny. Oh my God, that's a riot. But back to the phone lines. You guys got to realize when you run a radio show at a sports radio station, you have the content guy, an audio guy working the mixer, and a producer screening the phone calls and sorting them all out and deciding how much time everybody gets. I'm doing all three of those jobs alone. And the call-in screen is just sometimes there's 36 numbers here, and it's first call, first come, first serve. Like you try and calibrate it to if there's less callers, I can give them each more time. If there's more, I have to give everybody less. I just wanted you to know the dynamic. It's not easy, and I'm trying to navigate all these jobs at once. Not trying to leave anybody out, not trying to play favorites. It's just hard to navigate all that. Oh, boy. Yeah, Kent was thinking that dude was on bath salts for breakfast on a Monday morning. I just can't. You guys, 10-2, no freaking way. I'm sorry. I love Notre Dame. 10-2, no freaking chance. I'm sorry. I love Notre Dame. It's my whole life. It's why I'm doing this. But no. You're telling me you think Notre Dame's not going to lose again this year? There's no freaking way. There just isn't. I just don't see any way that could actually be what it is. There's no way. There's no freaking way you can see what we already did and then go, you know what? We're not going to lose again the rest of the year. I just can't. I can't. And if we do, bet me something, I'll do anything. If we go 10-2, I'll do something ignorant on this channel. Tell me, let's make a bet. I want to lose. I want to be wrong. 10-2. God, it's hard to go 10-2 when you've used the 2 weeks into the season. We're barely beating Navy. You're giving me this stress already. I can't handle this. Oh, man. Here we go. Craig, man, $49.99 super chat. I really appreciate that. Thanks for such a great game day experience. See you again soon, my friend. I'm telling you what's really nice, folks, is every time I drive over to campus now, you're not a stranger. There's people to see, things to do, places to go, and it's enjoyable. Craig, I really appreciate you. You should charge me $49.99 for hanging out with me. We're going to go 707 talking from heaven. You're on the air.
Good morning, John.
How are you doing, my friend? What do you make of what we saw Saturday? Where are you at with all this?
Well, I think the odds are a lot better that we're going to lose all these games as opposed to win them going 10-2. I think more likely a 2-10 is a reality better than the other.
But isn't the action what I think is somewhere in between there is honestly very realistic. I do. I think 6-6, 5-7, 7-5-ish. Like we're in that ballpark because I can't rely on anything week to week right now. And I don't like being there, but that's where I feel like I am.
Yeah. Well, I called 3-8 right after that loss to Marshall. I figured, and I'm in that respect, I don't feel, like I like this win. You got to be happy where you get them at this point, and as far as that one guy saying, you got to save things for the rest of the year. Now, they're not good enough to try and save things. You got to go out and try and win every game.
Yeah,
you know?
I thought of
wait
that.
for it.
I thought of that too. You're not good enough to save anything. You got to try and minimize losses. I agree with you.
Yeah, and I thought we kind of flipped the script this last week in that we came on in the second half as opposed to crumbling in the second half.
Yeah, and that's definitely something to build off of. And that's what I mean when it's like you got to find your building blocks, as small and as few as they may be, from this game
I think the defensive line really got aggressive and put pressure on him in that second half and really dictated the game at that point. Lacey played great, and then Cross played pretty good. Adim Alola played very good.
Yep. Foskey was getting in the mix more.
Foskey got a little bit, he went down with an injury, and I was afraid he was going to sit out the year because he doesn't want to hurt his draft status.
He kept coming back.
I think he realizes he's not good enough at this point to get a high pick anyway. So he came back in and he made a play or two that was really good.
Now you're looking at, I believe, 5 quarterback hurries, 5 or 6 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss. That is much more of that havoc that we've all been asking for and that we've needed. And I still maintain this defense still has to do more to support the offense because it's just going to be that way all year. And so it was great to see more of that penetration and havoc.
Yeah. What I was going to say is the good thing I think about what Rees did was he used Tyree this week, and that was like huge.
What took so long? Why did it take so long to give him 17 carries and 5 passes? One of them was a touchdown. Why did it take that long to realize doing that was a good idea? Drives me insane.
I don't get it either.
Me neither.
Really don't. But they were able to rush. Estime had a pretty good game. Tyree had a good game. There's some positives to take out of this. They're not going to be great. If they get 4 wins this year, this is what I'm expecting. So, if you look at Dabo Sweeney, it took him 4 years to get good. He came in, he was 38 years old, and his teams were below 500 2 out of his first 3 years. And then all of a sudden in year 4, he goes 10-2, so you got to really have some patience to get it to be your own team, And with his whole thing was recruiting. He turned it around with recruiting, and that's what we think Freeman can do.
Yeah, and that's a really, really good point. And I just think we all hoped that this would be seamless and just kind of run right into the next thing and from a high starting point and just instantly get better. And I just think we're realizing it's harder than that. And that hope isn't reality. And now there's some real tough work to be done. And if anybody's going to put in the work, it's going to be Freeman. So that is encouraging.
Yeah. And what was encouraging is that the team didn't quit, they came out and that defense came out angry and they played well. So I'm good that they're not giving into the season already because they were 0-2,
Yeah, and that's another big question answered. It wasn't a lot of the fan base, but I did have people messaging me saying, John, I'm a little nervous. Like, I don't know, where's the buy-in? Like, what's going on? Those guys played hard Saturday. They weren't good. They weren't great, but they played hard. They wanted to win for each other. They wanted to win for Pine. They wanted to win for Freeman. They wanted to win for Notre Dame. That tells me that at least I don't have to worry about that aspect of it, and I have comfort in that.
Yeah, the only thing is they didn't switch up the offensive line, and they didn't, Bauer and Bertrand aren't really that good. Like, Bauer plays hard, but he's really not that good. He'll give you 110%, but I just don't see it there. I don't understand how Prince Collie should be taking that position, and let's see what he can do. Like, maybe he has a better way of keeping his head up and following the play. We have to see what he has, and maybe it's like a something where he's just like the discipline isn't there. The coaches don't trust him to give him a chance yet, but I'd love to see that. I think he was a 5-star at one point, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, he was. And that's the other thing. It's like you need to just start trying some things. You're not that great. Now's the time. I mean, throw some guys out there for a series and see if you get an unexpected spark. And that could really help you in a year like this where everything's a struggle.
Completely agree.
So what do you make of Pine? What do you think of him? Undersized, physically limited, but he's a fighter. He's a Notre Dame guy, kept getting up, did enough to win. I'm happy for him.
Well, he's part of the reason why I think we're going to go 3 or 4-8,
Just limited. As hard as he tries, he's always going to be limited to a certain point. Is that what you mean by that physically?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we were putting all our eggs in the Buckner basket and he went down. So, when you have a guy like Rees, playing and trying to get a guy like Pine to play better, it's like, well, this guy has a ceiling totally. It's like you can't expect a lot this year just because the best quarterback they had thought, this guy that's in now is maybe 70% of what you had.
Yeah.
And you were hoping on a lot with Buckner. I mean, you were hoping in the expectations and, you hear all this talk about him and you see the way he runs hard, it's like everyone was really high on it, but now we have Pine. So how can you expect like a 10-win season or even a 9? If they go 5-7 or 6-6, I think that's a successful year at this point.
Now, let me ask you this, though. Let's assume that happens. And I think based off what we've seen, it's a perfectly reasonable range. Let me ask this. If you go rip off 6-6, do you expect that to impact this upcoming recruiting cycle? Or do you think Marcus can recruit around that saying, this is exactly why we need you, is so we're not in this position? Or that's a concern of mine with the recruiting. You can't lose that momentum. Is that an issue to you, or do you think Freeman can work that?
Yeah, it's always going to be an issue, but the relationships that they form, and then, how does the season unfold? I mean, do they win their last 5 out of 6 and show that there is potential?
Right,
there?
Trending up.
Get a recruit.
Yeah, trending up. That's a very good point. Yeah. Now, the issue with that is you would have to be trending up through a stretch that includes Clemson and USC. And now that gets you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm looking at the back end of that sched, we're getting into November. You have Clemson, and then you have Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving dinner in LA. So that's going to be tough. But it would be impressive if they did it. At least they'd be trending up, baby. Trending up.
Yeah, I mean, reality is, look at our offense. The good thing is we had Tyree used more, so maybe that'll help going forward. But maybe he'll get hurt. He's not a big back, and if we send him into the line, those linemen are going to have to make some holes that he can jet through. But he's very quick like that, so I like that. But the problem with Notre Dame the last 25 years is that they're just not deep. Like they don't get guys that are the top 100 and then the next level, the next guys behind them are a top 150 or 200. They just don't get that. So when they go down with whatever reason, there's just not other people like Alabama's and Ohio State's to just fill in and be as good or better.
Yeah. You're right about that. And a lot of people have mentioned that, in a lot of ball games and situations, Notre Dame's top line starters on both sides of the ball can do enough to hang in with almost anybody. But it's when you get into that depth and that rotational depth up front or whatever it is, that's where Notre Dame kind of struggles. And that's where transfer portal for non-graduate transfer portal, that's where that stuff kind of hurts Notre Dame. You don't backfill shallow areas with a feeder program of junior college, or be able to accept any transfers in, whether they can read or write or not. So you're right. That does tax Notre Dame in a lot of ways. So what do you think about North Carolina? Do we maintain this momentum, or was it 1 week at home and then it's back to a sad reality in North Carolina? What do you think?
I hate to say it, but I think, if they win, God bless them. But I'm not expecting a lot, so I'm not going to be as disappointed. I just have to feel like,
you lowered the bar
Marcus
enough
Freeman
that you
is
can
going-
live under it now, huh?
Well, I think Marcus Freeman is going to have a lot to turn around in recruiting, and that's not an easy thing to do if you're struggling, right out of the gate, which they are. But
Yeah.
I think that, if they can play hard for him, if they show never quit, and that kind of thing, that's the kind of guys that Freeman's going to get, So I'm not too worried about that. It's just that it's going to be growing,
Yeah.
The growing pains of having him first-time head coach. He's got to find himself, and just like Dabo did, like he was like 4-7 his first year, and then like 6-6, and then like maybe 7-6 or 8-4, something like that. Then all of a sudden he was 10-2, and he never looked back because he got his own kids in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what we have to be patient about. And for God's sakes, if anyone knows running out of patience, it's you and me. I mean, I know you do.
Hey, my hairline shows it. Nothing but stress, my friend. Look at the top of that ball. Oh my God. But we'll
All right,
see.
John, I'll
We'll
talk to
see.
the next
Thank
time.
you.
I'll let you get some other people.
Beautiful. Have a good week, my friend. Enjoy sunny California.
Thanks.
Take care.
You too.
Oh, man. I always enjoy him calling. He relaxes me in a way. Here's a couple things today, folks. We got more anti-Notre Dame trolls in the chats today than usual. And I don't understand why. Notre Dame wins a game and we end up with more trolls who don't like Notre Dame? How does that work? We have more anti-Notre Dame trolls in the chat now than we did when we were losing every week. Colby's here. And Colby, I started another tweet of Colby's, and it said something about dogs on top, dogs number one. I'm going to tell you what, that team looked scary. My God. That Georgia team looks fast and physical. They just look really good. They look like it's just a team where physically you watch them when I watch Georgia, and they just look like they're just on a different level right now. So Colby, enjoy the ride. I know up until last year, it's been a long time since Georgia had a championship and was good. Enjoy the ride. He's saying we need to run the ball better. I understand you can say that. You also need to understand that's a high-level complaint. Like, that's a first-world problem you have, buddy, because that talent is sick, and I'm jealous of it. So enjoy your season. Should be a fun one for them. Oh, let's see. Notre Dame can count on DJU when y'all play Clemson. He might help y'all out. I mean, whatever. Dude, I have so much to worry about between now and November 5th. Like, I have a lot of things to stress out about before I can worry about that game. We'll get there when we can. Brian, 199. I really appreciate the super chat. Quick was the plan. Drew didn't execute. TR lost it. Yeah, pretty much. And like I said early on in the show, we're going to do a show tonight. I already pre-recorded it, and it's going to be all on the Tommy Rees Pine dynamic. So that's going to come out later. So if you're wondering why you haven't heard me address that in full yet, wait till tonight's episode. It's coming out. 937, talking to you is like being in heaven. You're on the air. Good Monday morning.
Hey, good Monday morning, John. This is your Buckeye fan out there down in Dayton, Ohio. Hey, I just wanted to comment a little bit about the game. So one thing, you were at the game, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on TV, it looked like Cal was a lot smaller than Notre Dame. Was that true? Just seeing it in person? Sometimes, television is kind of tricky.
I mean, I feel like it was obvious kind of up front a little bit that I don't think they have the big bodies. Like, I don't think they have the big bodies that you would ideally want to have. Especially, just on both the lines, I noticed that kind of obviously. And I do think that's why Notre Dame eventually was able to kind of grind them down and run the ball a little more out of power. So, yeah, I think they were a little undersized. And that's a part of why I said Notre Dame should be damn glad that it was Cal in there this week, because it kind of gave you a little bit of that margin to play with. So, yeah, they're a little undersized up front. That's where it showed the most.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like, especially when I started watching, which was the second half on, it did look like that Notre Dame had a big advantage on their offensive line versus the Cal's defensive line, and just running the ball straight ahead with your bigger running back. So I think that was definitely key to the win for Notre Dame. I think it's going to be a little harder this week as far as being able to stop the offense of the other team. But another thing I just want to say, college football needs to figure out this targeting. It's just so crazy. I hate the rule. I mean, there was two targetings in the game. The one on Drew Pine. Now, I understand we want to protect players, but he's out of the pocket, and the guy's taller than Drew Pine, so he tries to get down to hit him. He hits him with his shoulder pad and around his shoulders, but he's a leprechaun out there running around. I don't know where you're supposed to hit the guy.
Right.
And then the other one's just a silly penalty too. Like I don't know. It's like we're not even playing football anymore out there. It drives me nuts. And I have an interest that Notre Dame needs to be good, because we need them good.
Right. To help your strength.
The schedule.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's just, I hate the targeting. It's just such a ridiculous thing.
Well, the thing is,
but
let's wrap up the targeting thing. Here's my thought on it. I think it's severely penal to where, like, you accidentally have a guy making a play and a quarterback or somebody lowers their head and it's an accident. And then the guy's out of this game and maybe out of the half of the next game. They're treating you like a felon when you're just trying to, like, make a hit and the guy lowered his shoulder. You don't know the guy's going to lower his shoulder. You jump. It's not a perfect system, but it seems overly penal. Like you're a felon that you tried to make a great hit and the guy lowered and it didn't work out. It needs to be revamped to be a little less jail-like. I mean, they act like you killed somebody out there when you make a big hit. So I agree with that.
There's obvious ones where it's like spearing. Like there used to be, the penalty was spearing, where you're actually launching and you're going with the top of your head. Like,
yeah,
that makes complete sense. Like,
right.
The penalties now, it's just like normal hits. It's insane.
But they're going to say safety, safety, safety. Everything's safety first. So I get it. But the whole thing of, like, you're out the next game for a half too, unless it's intentional. If you know it's an intentional thing where there's no way it wasn't, it was a cheap shot, blindside, head to head, that's different. But if it's not intentional, I do not think you should not be able to play in the next game. Too penal, especially because half of these are accidents.
Right. And two, I mean, we want to talk about safety. The running back lowers his head on every play.
Right. Where's the offensive head-to-head? How come they never get it for lowering in their head and creating a blow? Why is it only on the defense?
Yeah.
I've asked that before.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, what else you got here?
Shoot, there was one other thing I had for you. Oh yeah. So I watched the Ohio State Toledo game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Notre Dame needs to go 60 miles South Bend to Toledo? I'm not exactly sure. It's not very far. They need to go and snag that Toledo quarterback. That guy is a baller. And if you don't, it's shame on you. You need to get that guy. He is the real deal. They scored 21 against the Buckeyes, but it was all on these broken plays where this guy he's super quick, super accurate. He's only a sophomore. You guys should get him in there as a transfer. Like, he is legit. He would be the answer that you need right now, with having a limited wide receiver room, and needing to make plays. That's what you need.
Yeah, there's no doubt that we need a lot of both of that. But you know what, man? You know what drives me crazy? Like you're mentioning Toledo. It drives me crazy as a Notre Dame fan to see all of these programs with way less talent and prestige than Notre Dame. And they run out there and their offenses whip the ball around. They're getting creative. It has flow. It has rhythm. They're mixing things up. They're moving all over. I see teams that have way less talent than Notre Dame do that, and we can't, and it drives me crazy. And that's why I need to join Hair Club for Men.
Yep. I'm not really sure who you guys play every week. I know North Carolina's this week. I'm not really sure what to think, but I do think Notre Dame has a hard time even moving the ball against air at this point. It's on the passing game side.
I can't disagree. I want to, but I cannot disagree, and it hurts my feelings on a Monday.
No, it's
it's the facts. It's true. It's true. Hey, can I bring something up to you?
Go ahead.
No, you finish, and then when you're about done, I have one thing I got to end with you on. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. So, real quick on as far as the score, I just think you're going to have to be able to run the ball and just keep it low scoring and just keep that other team off the field, and that's going to be the success to be able to keep it close. That's my opinion.
Yep. That's a really good point. And I really appreciate your keen interest and observation of Notre Dame, even as a fan of another team. And it's not really trolling. You're pretty genuine about what you see, and I really appreciate that. Here's what I'm going to finish with you on what do you make of what you saw out of Michigan State this week? Like, as an Ohio State guy, I imagine you got a keen eye on what's going on in the Big Ten. I was a little surprised by that. Are you surprised by what you saw them do? I was.
Well, Michigan State, they're kind of known for giving up a game like this a year where you're like just scratching your head like they should have won.
Yeah.
And they look terrible. They're kind of a program known for that. They're kind of, in a way, they're kind of similar to Notre Dame where they can play with any big team. But then they can also get beat by anybody. And I honestly, I didn't watch the game very much. I just watched a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's kind of sad. The Big Ten especially the Big Ten West. Like if Notre Dame was playing in the Big Ten West, maybe not this year, but in prior years, they would have had a great chance of winning the Big Ten West. Mm-hmm. And they're pretty terrible. Which is not great for the conference, but I don't know. Maybe this will be a conference game one day. Notre Dame, North Carolina. What do you think?
There you go. Yeah, that would be good. And then the other thing is, too, let me ask this. If I'm going to ask about Michigan State, as I let you off the line here, I got to finish with this one.
Sure.
I am having a hard time separating out how good Michigan really is now versus how bad their non-conference high school schedule has been. There's no doubt that they look really good. Their offense is doing great. I am just having a tough time calibrating exactly where they are because their measuring stick is a joke. Like, they have the worst strength of schedule right now in college football is the Michigan Wolverines. Yep. I think they're 131 out of 131. Yep.
Yeah.
And so, they look good, but you're playing junior high teams. So I can't even really judge it. How good are they? I want you to destroy them, and I want to tuck to too. And now I don't know if they're going to. How good is that damn team in your opinion?
I think they're a top 10 team for sure. I think it'll be interesting. It's basically a 3-team conference. Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan.
Right.
And it wouldn't surprise me if we get one of these things where Ohio State loses to Penn State loses to Michigan, and Ohio State beats Michigan.
Yeah, the old round robin loss table. Yeah, that's wild too. Yeah. The round robin loss table. That's always kind of fun when it happens. But I'm telling you, man, I'm just frustrated because I'm watching Michigan and I'm like, I see a lot of points, a lot of yards. Everything looks great, but you're also not playing anybody yet. And I don't really think they do till like mid-October. I think they have Iowa October 5th, something like that, or something.
Yeah, and Iowa's terrible. But, here's a good question for you. And I didn't want to bring this up on this call, but so if Notre Dame's offense continues to be what it is, if you're Lloyd Carr's grandson and you're looking at Michigan, you're looking at Notre Dame, like, I don't know.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, so here's where You're right. Like that nervous laugh of, I don't know. Yeah, that's what the fan base feels here. Here's what you need to hope. And this is something Notre Dame fans have always relied on. Kids that are interested in going to Notre Dame are usually a little unique with their value system, with their families. Sometimes, religion's involved, academics heavily involved. Like a lot of the guys that are Notre Dame guys are there for reasons way beyond football. And a lot of it's family stuff too. That helps Notre Dame sometimes in difficult situations in season, to where you're surprised their recruiting classes hold together so well. And it's because they buy into all the other stuff besides just football, because Notre Dame's kind of unique. So I think you would hope that holds. However, every game you lose is an opportunity for somebody to negative recruit on you, and they should. So it's a risk. Every time you lose, it's a risk. You're right to worry about it. I'm worried about it. You should be.
Well, with Lloyd Carr's grandson's connections, that's my only thought is like, if he were to go somewhere else,
yeah,
that's the school, right?
Yeah, right. So yeah, you would hope that those relationships and the bigger picture Notre Dame, keeps him in his commitment. But again, doesn't help recruiting. When you're struggling, it hurts. But thanks for the call, man. Really good call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good one.
You too. All right. 812, we're talking to you to wrap up the show on Always Irish. You're on the air, my friend.
Hey, what's up, John?
What's going on? How are you feeling on this beautiful Monday morning?
Well, it is a better Monday morning than last Monday morning.
Hey, man, I don't care what it looks like. Any win, no matter what it looks like, I'm going to feel better about it, talking about the problems or where we need to go. You're right.
Yeah. Just score more points.
Sure.
That's all I care about right now. Just score more points.
Okay.
You can score one more point than everybody on the schedule, and I'll be happy for the rest of the year. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, you're not in a position to ask for style points or extra credit or flash or swag and running your third string out there for a quarter to get work. No, you're absolutely right. We need to fight and claw for every single win by 1 point. You're right.
Yes. Well, I've heard a couple callers say great play calling by Tommy. I have to push back on that, because if it wasn't for Tommy's play calling, our starting quarterback literally wouldn't be in the booth with his ass in a sling, literally.
Well, you could say that too. I mean, you can. I know, but it's like, okay, injuries are injuries, could happen to anybody. Bad luck. Are you really going to blame like a coach for that? I don't. Let me ask this. How much room do you think is there for Pine to grow in the offense the rest of the year? Because I think that's a real big key. That wide receiver room is what it is. How much growth do you think Pine can do the next month and a half? Do you see some growth in him to get this where we want to go?
Yeah, absolutely. He's not Kyler Murray, and I know you probably watched the end of that game yesterday.
That was
he's
wild.
No Kyler Murray, but he's not the mascot either. I absolutely think there's a willingness to want to grow. I just don't know how much that is.
All right. Now let me ask you this. Somebody's come back to you in the chat. Richard Morris said here. He says, what does Tommy have to work with? No speed on the perimeter, a group of 5 QB, and an O-line not playing well enough at all. So then that boxes Tommy in a corner. And then it's like, I get that, but it's your job to pivot and get results anyways. Like, it always turns into the next thing. So what do you think about that angle?
Well, I look back at the last things. This quarterback room, Tommy has been directly connected to it for years.
Yep. And where's the development there?
At his feet.
Yeah.
What development, talent recruitment, all of it. You could put some of it at his feet, as he should be part of this. The big glaring hole in recruitment, in recruitment right now for the year is what? The quarterback.
Yeah. Yep.
We are still having this problem.
You just need to get it figured out. I've said this forever. Notre Dame makes life way harder than it has to be. Being the quarterback is the number one most important individual position in all of sports. I don't know why it's that hard to just get one or two good ones, and then you build everything around them, and you know that at least you're good at the best position. We keep it moving. It's the University of Notre Dame. If you cannot get a top-end quarterback to come develop into something at Notre Dame, somebody's doing something wrong at the top. It's Notre Dame. And we can't get an elite quarterback to develop or come here. What is wrong? Something's wrong.
Yes. And I'm going to throw this out there is, are we scared of old man Rees? Is this an issue that nobody's, because I haven't heard anybody mention dad in any of this.
I don't know. I haven't heard that
he's
either.
Got a hand in this too.
I have not. You know what? That's an angle I haven't really heard. That's kind of an interesting angle. I never thought of that. Tommy,
just curious. Oh, and
yeah, go ahead.
Glass half full.
Mm-hmm.
If there you go, you're wild. I figured I'd throw it nugget out and make you marinate on it. But glass half full. If Notre Dame handles their business over the weekend, do you start looking at Marshall as a fluke?
Here's what I'll say. It's going to take more than one. It's going to take more North Carolina. If you could somehow beat North Carolina at their place and then also beat BYU, now I'm interested, because that technically then turns into a little bit of a run and a little bit of a rally, and you have a little momentum. So I would need to see a couple in a row to feel really good about, a couple more in a row, I should say. But yeah, I think that's a good question to ask, though. But let's get a little momentum here. Win a few weeks. Winning breeds winning.
Yes, because I look at the Sam Darnold. I don't know my years. I look at the Sam Darnold USC team that started in the dumpster, just like this Notre Dame team did. And I'm not comparing Drew Pine to Sam Darnold.
Sure.
But at the end of that year, nobody wanted to play him.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you know, that's kind of one of the realizations I've come to after this third week. We're not where we want to be, but the best thing I can do now is judge the progress getting from where we are to where we want to be. That's what the rest of this year's about. You need to make as many strides to help the future as you can in a year where your biggest goals are not going to happen because you already have 2 losses before I even need a sweatshirt outside. I hate it. I just hate it. I hate it. It was 98 degrees in Notre Dame. I'm sweating. We already got 2 losses. We didn't even get into fall yet.
No. Yeah, the leaves aren't even changing, and the program has. That's not good.
So, I don't know, my friend.
Tobias got his shoes dirty this weekend?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Yeah, I did. Let's get more of that, like baby steps. Let's get more of that. But yeah, I did notice that. And so that was really good to see. So what do you think? Do we beat North Carolina or do we go down to them at home? You're the last caller. It all depends on you for the day. You got to nail this one. Do we get it or do they get us?
It's all me for the day. It's a double overtime win.
Oh, a double overtime win? I can't handle a double overtime win after what we've already been through. You're trying to kill me this week.
Yes, double overtime win.
Oh, my God. You're going to give me 2 strokes, 1 for each overtime.
That's right.
Oh,
right. I'll
man.
jump off here, John. I got to go back to work. Have a good day.
Beautiful. I appreciate it. Call again. You know what I really like? I like people that sneak out of work to call this show. That's what I like. Like, yeah, boss, I'll get right there. I got to call John about Tommy Rees. Doc Marshall, $10. I appreciate that. Hopefully this win starts a streak. Yeah, Rob, I did have that somewhere. I think I lost it going back up on the Shawshank. Dude, I need a way where I could search people. And like, if it's Rob, hit it and then bring up all the things Rob said. Because if I don't get it right away, then it goes back in the chat and then I can't find it and you have to scroll up. It's not a perfect system here. Tommy Rees stinks. Dude, the Tommy Rees Notre Dame arc is so wild. Think about the Tommy Rees arc. It's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. Recruit, not that highly regarded, and then he ends up coming in relief, winning some of those games in 11 and 12. But then he's gone, and then all of a sudden he's in the NFL as a quarterback coach or an analyst one year. And then he comes back and he's the quarterback guru and he's the offensive coordinator, but now we're not happy. He ran from the cops. People are using his mugshot. People are using on Twitter to mock him as their avatars. The life and times of Tommy Rees are wild. Dad's a lifelong NFL guy. All of the interesting dynamic between Rees and Kelly, recruit and then player and then coach to coach. So interesting. So interesting. And I wonder at some point if Tommy's like, dude, all this Notre Dame stuff's too much. I don't need that. I'm going to write my own story in the NFL or something. I don't know. So that's going to be it for the show, folks. Thank you to everybody who called, all of the chats, even the trolls, everybody who donated. I really appreciate you. It keeps the channel going. And stay tuned tonight. This evening, I'll drop an episode on Tommy Rees yelling at Pine. That'll be fun. And then I have something good planned for tomorrow, too. So take care, everybody. Thanks for being here. Have yourself a good Monday. Behave out there.